And I've made the fatal mistake of turning on the live feed, Taylor.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's fatal.
No, it's not fatal. It's actually 4 minutes late. However, I haven't got the right screen dimensions, so if I can fix that, we're good to go. And I won't bother with the theme music. No, it won't let me do that. And people are gathering, so I'll welcome them. Hi, folks. It's Rob Ellen here with a particularly loose medicine show this afternoon. I'm in the gorgeous company of Taylor I knew it would. Giacoma. I was going to practice that too in the sound check. Whose fabulous facility this is. It is Semitone Studios, and we're going to get the whole guided tour in a minute. And thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Will you escort us into your fabulous studio?
There is actually a piano lesson in progress, and so
all right.
I don't want to.
So we'll try not to disturb them, but it's all soundproofed, eh?
Yeah, when I don't close the doors.
Yeah.
I'm disruptive, and I don't want to be disruptive.
So we just met last night, but your legend precedes you. People have been talking about how fabulous this place is, and having enjoyed live performances here as well as tuitions, and as well as knowing you for your personal music too. So I want to talk about all of that. I'd like to talk about your choral work as well, which you're just back from doing a choir.
Yes, just.
Was that was that a community choir?
Yeah, it's the choirs have evolved over time, but there are now 3 choirs. There's a mixed choir, a women's choir, and a men's choir.
Yeah.
We are known as the Semitone Singers.
Nice.
And we do all sorts. This term we're doing everything from William Byrd to a little Bob Marley.
Excellent.
It's good.
Excellent.
They're good folks.
I do love a choir, and there's nothing quite like singing in a choir, is there?
No. And they are basically community choirs. Anyone who wants to can join in and have a sing.
Okay, we'll plug everything that you're doing as we go. I think you're going to give us a full guided tour. I'm going to introduce your music in a minute. Would you introduce us to your glorious piano?
Oh, yeah, should I?
Tell us more.
I'll close this when I play.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Sometimes I just look at it.
It's fabulous. So this and this part of your facility, as well as being your own studio, is a performance space as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So that wall comes apart and away.
Yeah.
It's actually a bespoke acoustic wall.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that this space that we're in now can function as my practice stroke workspace and tutoring space and rehearsal space. But when we decide to, which is most Friday nights and sometimes other times, that wall comes to one side and we have audience sit there and this basically becomes the stage.
Fantastic.
And really it's just my vision of how to make it work for a primarily independent musician writing original music.
Yes. With a listening audience.
With a listening audience. And this Semitone has really got to be known as a place where original music is not just sort of tolerated, which it is a lot of places. Oh yeah, throw in a couple of originals.
Yeah.
We love original music. So people who write original music will come here, sometimes on their tours, sometimes they just are local and they come here. And they know that they can perform anything they want. We love covers too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, original music is not an easy game. But this space, because it's sort of a multi-use space, we make it work.
And the audience know that they're coming to listen as well, which is always a benefit to a performing artist. I'm hugely excited by house concerts and that ability, and you being American, and we'll touch on all of that as well. The big question is going, how come the American has managed to get this together in such a place? We'll get to that too. I do, and we've got a nice audience, so folks, thank you. Thanks for joining us, and please do, on the page that you are on, there is a chat frame. Whether I'll get a chance to answer any questions as we go, but I'm sure Taylor and I will answer any questions that you might have as we unfold the interview, and we're going to have a little bit of music.
Yeah, I'm going to turn this down a bit.
Okay.
And I think as I'm going to play, I will put this down.
Yeah, because it'll be
So
loud
it's the
otherwise.
last out of the room.
Let me just get that. It's going to chip it otherwise.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
There you go.
Get shifted.
So, Taylor Giacoma.
Yeah, so
What?
I think I'm going to play a little song called Here and Now. And it's, well, I suppose it touches on what you were talking about, you know, how in the world have I ended up here?
Yeah.
And so it's been an adventure. And it's not turned out at all how I thought it would.
They never do they?
But that's all right.
Yeah.
Cue the song.
Yeah.
This is not your home, but it's where you lay your head down to make your home as best you can. This is not your man, but he's the one you put your arms around, so love him true as best you can. This is not your life, but it's the one that you are living, so breathe it out and breathe it in, just one day at a time. This is not where you thought you would end up, but here you are, here and now. I lost my stripes in a field of zebras. I lost my spots in a field of cows. And when I went back to the field to find them, they said, you're not one of us, no, you're not one of us now. I lost my black in a sky of raven. I lost my white in a sky of doves. And when I went back to the skies to find them, they said, you're not one of us, no, you're not one of us, love. This is not your home,
So beautiful. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank
you. And so this is where you find yourself in Marple.
Marple. Yeah.
And did you know about Marple before you came here, or
Amazing.
I'm interested in the process of actually settling here.
Well, before Marple, I've lived in a couple of other places.
Yeah.
But only in this general area.
Uh-huh.
And actually, amazingly, I knew about Marple before I moved here. Because there's a colleague of mine who went to the same tiny conservatory that I did in Ohio, who also lives in Marple.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And so I'd come here to visit.
Yeah.
And it came to a friend's attention that, I think this other person lives in a similar area.
Yeah.
And amazingly, there are two Americans who sort of have history together who are living in Marple.
Very cool.
Which is a very small town.
It's a smallish town in comparison to Greater Manchester, where you're nestling.
Yeah.
You're actually squeezed between Greater Manchester and the wonderful Peak District. It's only 5 minutes away. Yeah.
Well, that's what I think is amazing. I mean,
You've got that huge metropolis growing on this side, but preserved on the other side. You've got wilderness, basically.
And I feel like it's the best of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a city. I love the excitement of a city, but I also like the quiet.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Well, you're from upstate New York, so you know about this stuff, eh?
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, I grew up in the Hudson Valley, not New York City.
Yeah.
But the last place I lived in America was New York City.
Yeah.
And I loved it, and I love the energy.
Yeah.
And I miss it. But I can visit that sort of energy in Manchester or London or wherever.
These days, Manchester is quite a metropolis.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got that established, and where you came from, your music as well. So, this fantastic facility, which you're going to show me around just now, this must have been a dream for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't really believe, I pinch myself sometimes, that it is real. But
so this is the first time you've established something on this scale?
I guess on this scale.
Yeah,
I mean, the original
Semitone.
Semitone was established as a place at the back of Comstill Mills, which is not far from here.
Uh-huh.
Comstill's sort of around the corner from here on the way to Romilly.
Yeah.
Just a dot on the map. And to cut a long story short, I'd settled in this country and I was working as a tutor and I was performing. Mm-hmm. And I ended up needing to find my own commercial premises. Yeah. And pretty quickly too. Yeah. And so I found this space at the back of a falling down mill.
Nice.
And it actually, lots of amazing stories came about because it was in such an unlikely place. People would come to this mill and say, I'm not in the right place at all. Nice. And they totally were. Yeah. And they'd come up the stairs of this building, clear in the back, and then they'd see this piano and they're like, oh, we are. So I was there for a few years.
So you were earning your living as a tutor?
Tutor, same as I am now.
Yeah.
But just, I was earlier on in the evolution.
Yeah.
But I was self-employed effectively before I established Semitone. And then knowing that I wanted to work alongside others, I didn't just make it Giacoma Studios or try to make it all about me. I always wanted people to work alongside me doing similar stuff.
Yeah, and inspiring each other.
Yeah. Well, things work better when you collaborate. Things work in community.
Yeah. Yeah, and music is, I always see it as a social glue of community. Yeah. And what you're doing here is basically gluing the community together. And I think it seems like it. And well, the reactions to doing this session of there's Matt Hill just popped in.
Matt! Yeah. Hey!
I had 2 days with Matt. He showed me his Elvis collection and everything. It was great fun. And we did it.
I have Matt envy. That's great.
Well, I'm sure he would take you and show you at the drop of a hat with the Elvis anyway. And this was great as well. But we actually sat down and watched an Elvis movie. He puts himself through that every week, being the Elvis aficionado that he is. He's watching every Elvis movie that was ever made, 33 of them. So he's halfway through that.
Matt, how do you have time to write songs? When
He
you do
does
this?
so much as well. And you know what's inspiring about the people that I've met on this trip through the Peak District, particularly, everybody. Darren Poisner's another one that sends his regards. Everybody is involved in music. Some of them are involved in music full time. But the other aspect of being involved in music full time, they're all doing community projects. One, to augment their living, but two, because it's necessary within the community to bring some cohesion and healing.
Yeah.
That's not too big a word for it, is it?
No, and in fact, I mean, as a venue, we felt like we actually deepened our relationship with our community in COVID, not the opposite. A lot of venues just kind of closed, and maybe that's because they had to. But by contrast, we basically kept our Friday nights but put them online, and we didn't put them online to broadcast. We could have, but we didn't want to lose that sense of intimacy and sharing and togetherness. And I feel that if we would have just gathered every week, you know, taken our turns and broadcast it, that we would have ticked the boxes as far as like sharing performances and music, but we wouldn't have had the same camaraderie. We wouldn't have had the same interactions.
Yeah.
And
So did you Skype those, or was it
Zoom?
Zoom,
we had
of
Zoom
course.
meetings, but we had them for ourselves, and we had guests come along, but only guests that we knew.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to make it just about like, hey, we're Semitone and here's the show.
Yeah.
It was about the community, and then when we came back into the real world, I'm sure we're stronger for that.
I think, yeah, I had hopes at the beginning. I used to say, listen, we'll come back from this stronger, believe me, because the music industry was decimated. And, you know, they weren't alone, but particularly hard hit were the independent artists. And a lot of people floundering around wondering what they were going to do, and a lot of people not come back to it yet as well. So that's one of the reasons I'm going around talking to people like yourself, is to encourage everyone to find themselves again after that, which was a traumatic experience, but also to find places like this, which are right in the heart and are the beating heart of the music community of this part of the world. So well done, and thank you for doing that, and thanks for having us in. We're going to have a look round and see the whole facility. But your music, how long have you been writing music, and how many albums have you produced now?
Oh, interesting questions. I wrote music as a little girl, but I wouldn't say, well, I don't perform anything currently that I wrote before I was about 18. And so I'll say that.
Which was about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, so about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm 44. I'm not bothered. I just turned 44 on Saturday.
Yay!
Yay, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. That was Saturday as well. Must have been a party in here last Friday, was it? Yeah.
I should have. I had a party the night before.
You did.
And they sang. There might have been some fizz.
Yeah, so I'm going to, I'm sorry for this, cutting in. I'm going to think about coming back next Friday, this Friday, to see what your open mic looks like. It'll be lovely to come back and do that. So yeah, carry on with your story.
Gosh, so yeah, I would say that I started writing songs that were good songs, that were performable songs when I was about 18.
You were happy.
And in truth, I think my dream was always just to sing and play my own stuff.
Yeah.
But I hadn't sort of put together what that looked like or how to find that way forward.
Yeah.
And I ended up studying musical theatre and music theory.
That was the next question. There must be this beautiful instrument being part of it. There must have been some music training in your life as well. Is that where it came from?
Well,
and theatre as well.
Yeah, I learned to play piano by ear when I was really little, and then I actually taught myself to read the music well enough.
Yeah.
And then I got piano lessons and just took off really, just in love with the piano.
Yeah.
But I also found singing and I found theatre. Yeah. And as much as I always had this pipe dream of basically playing and singing and being what we would call an independent artist, I didn't see that as like a job I could have.
Right.
I didn't see the way forward. But I really liked
This
musical
must have
theatre.
been just about the time when the music industry was departing. When
Well,
we were losing that aspect of, you know, being signed and all that.
yeah, I think
That-
just a bit before that. I mean, in fact, when I was
Yeah.
looking for degrees, I don't think there were that many degrees that would have suited just being
Being
a
an
songwriter.
independent songwriter, yeah.
But that's just as well because I didn't want to just be a songwriter. I mean, the theory that I built up when I was at conservatory, which I was really there for other reasons, everything kind of just fit together. Things that I think knew intuitively, I learned like why those things worked.
Yeah.
And so I found myself at conservatory studying musical theatre and then music theory as well because I took a couple extra theory courses and I said I really really love this.
Yeah.
And I want to learn more of it. And then I did a bit of musical theatre and actually a little bit of film following conservatory.
Where did you study?
At Baldwin Wallace Conservatory at Music.
In
It's
New
near
York.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Wow.
Yeah. And then lots of things happened, lots of mini journeys. But I ended up coming back. I actually sort of left my creative path for a little while. I wasn't sure what I was doing. And when I came back to it, I thought, well, hang on. So I've got these skills. Like, yeah, I can keep trying, auditioning for shows and doing that. But what I really, really want to do is just write my songs and sing them. So what if I just tried? And I did. And it was like the universe said, yes.
Right.
And sometimes you try really hard at something and it
Yeah.
and other times you just sort of
You find
look
your-
in the right direction and everything just aligns. And so I started singing and playing my own stuff. And I released an album in 2007 that I recorded in my flat in New York
Yeah.
called Transatlantic Lemmy. And I released another album in 2009 which I recorded just a little bit upstate with some friends in my friend's facility. And then
Because there's so many in New York, upstate New York. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even like a proper recording studio. It was more like an educational facility, but we made it work.
Yeah.
And honestly, at every step of the way, I did the very best that I could with the resources I had, which weren't much.
Yeah.
As you do when you're trying to make it as an independent musician.
Yeah.
And then after that, I released a number of singles that were either recorded by me or by engineers here, because it starts to move into the time that I had Semitone.
Yep.
And then actually, this summer, as I was looking at things and where I wanted to go next and what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
I realized that as much as I loved all the songs I'd recorded, and it was the best I could do at the time, I was like, I know I can do better for those songs.
Yeah.
And long story short, during lockdown, I learned some skills that I needed to learn in order to keep the show on the road for my choirs, for Semitone, for my teaching. And I learned a lot of recording skills. And then just when these ideas were kind of shaping up in my head, I met this producer called Mike Loretto, who is also an American and only in Disley.
It's an invasion.
I know. And again, long story short, because there's so many mini stories in here, I realized that if I wanted to do the best I could for my songs, that I needed to re-record everything and have it properly produced
Quite an undertaking.
by Mike.
Yeah.
And so that's what I sank my summer doing. I was like a musical hobbit in here, re-recording everything and wrote a new one. And so in October, I released Steal Up and On the Way as 2 albums.
Right.
Which are basically a combination of all the singles, Transatlantic Lemmy, Hold On, and another that I wrote.
Yeah.
And then at Christmas time, I re-released my Christmas song.
See, I had a Christmas song there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not sure how to answer the question how many albums I had, because
Yeah, that was me being old school and leaving it like it used to be. But these days it's not. It's a creative process. The releasing of music has to be a creative process as well now, because there's no obvious way to make it pay. And there's no obvious way.
No, but I realized that people did want to buy my songs. They asked to buy CDs any place I gigged. Yeah. And I thought, well, I need to have something that I can give them. And I want to.
Well, people still need to validate, not need to, but like to validate the experience of a live show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And have that memory, a physical memory in their hand.
Yeah.
To take away with them, and thank goodness for that.
Well, it's great for us because it actually helps make gigging more viable. And it allows them to go home with a piece of us, whether they're signed up for one of these streaming things or not.
A memento.
A memento that, I'm sitting somewhere on somebody's desk and maybe they'll play me again.
And and they'll be in the car with somebody else and they'll go, who's that? I wonder. They've got a story to tell. So that's beautiful. I don't want to hold you back because I know you've got another choir or something coming in.
No, I've got a lesson at 6. We're good.
6, okay.
We're totally
okay. So shall we take a wander around and have a look at your beautiful...
Yes, in fact, we might even...
And as... Okay.
I'm literally looking for keys.
Oh,
we might even be able to sneak into studio
Sorry, this is where...
That's my mess! No!
It just looked so tiny. I wondered where the real stuff was.
Filming my chaos.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Playing with
it's
you.
Fine.
So we are
I don't know.
with Taylor Giacoma, and she is listening to see who's doing a piano lesson.
I'm going to ask Eleanor if anyone's in there, because I don't know. Okay. Okay. This is Eleanor.
I know, thank you,
Eleanor.
Eleanor made me coffee, found me the internet and everything as well.
And this is where the audience
This is the audience space, eh?
Yeah.
So how many seats would you put out for a space?
We're about 18.
Yeah.
We can push it to sort of 2021.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, when we had standing room only,
Yeah.
we might be able to have sort of 25, 26, but,
So on a popular gig, would you put tickets on sale for some events, or is it free at the door? And how do you work with it?
We've had a pay-as-you-can policy. And so we have a jar.
Yeah.
And some people donate,
Classic
some people don't.
house concert principle, and that's the beauty of it,
And
so
some
you don't want to
people can.
exclude people, it's an inclusive process, isn't it?
And that's really important because some people don't have anything to give. And actually, some people have so little and they still give.
Yeah.
And we just think giving as you can is about right.
I know these people. Well, you do the same yourself. You are giving an amazing facility as well. So thank you. Coffee is quite nice as well.
Yes, even the coffee is pay as you can. There's a markup on coffee.
So where are we going now?
We might go to studio 2.
Okay.
Can I come in? Can a camera come in?
Hiya.
Steve.
Steve, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Rob Ellen.
Nice to meet
We're
you.
doing a thing for an internet television station called iMTV. I'm Taylor in this facility. So
Right.
you're one of the
Teachers.
here.
Yeah.
You teach piano.
Piano and keyboard.
Steve's an amazing pianist.
Okay, give us a blast.
Would you like to hear?
Oh, goodness me.
Let me get out of the way.
What are you thinking of?
Okay, do you like swing or do you like...
I like a bit of swing. Do you do a bit of stride?
Yes.
Do me some stride.
How about some funky stride?
It's been a while. I particularly haven't had funky stride.
Not striding yet.
No. It has to have, you have to have the intro. That's great. Nice. He's good, isn't he? That's fabulous. Thank you
No
so
pressure,
much. No, that's straight in at the deep end. And
Yeah, I can
everything,
just
yeah.
edit that and just put it into a GIF. There could be.
Steve, what's your second name?
Paul.
Steve Hall, resident piano tutor here at Semitone Studios. Taylor Giacoma, I've got it right, did I?
Yeah.
Yes.
And a performer in his own right, and your duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a duo as well.
Yeah, so you're gigging around as well as
Yes,
doing this.
Tell us what it's called.
it's called Vibes.
Vibes.
Yeah, Vibes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to forget that's a good name.
Yeah.
Did you get it first? Did you get that name first?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I was just finished touring with a 60s band as well, the Casuals from the 60s.
Casuals.
Remember the Casuals?
You know, my brother would have known the Casuals,
Right.
and I've heard the name. He was in Vanity Fair. He was
Yeah,
a drummer
we've
with
toured
Vanity
with them,
Fair.
we worked with them.
Yeah, Mark's sadly gone now. He's been
Right,
delayed to Upton died in us a couple of years ago, but they're still touring.
They are, yeah.
And that's where I heard the name.
Yeah.
The Casuals, cool. So this must be a fun facility and a godsend for a piano teacher and musician.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it, yeah. Yeah, because we've got all acoustic piano, get right, you know, with the electric and keyboard, so yeah.
Yeah, and it's it'll be bearing fruit. There'll be folks out there now that are professionally gigging that you two both have helped come through in the years. Well, good work indeed. And we need it now that venues are starting to open up again, and people are definitely starting to come out again. That's for sure. I've just been all over Ireland, and I have to say the crack is back, as they would say in that part of the world.
Yeah.
And we're ready for it, aren't we?
Yeah, I did a gig over there with the Casuals, actually.
Yeah?
A while back, yeah. Well, about 12 months ago.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was all busy.
So when's your next appointment?
5:30.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, we better just leave you to prepare for that, and thank you for that. This is
Sorry, we just.
Yeah, we jumped.
Your house, could have come into my house.
But it's your room when you're
It's
here.
your-
But Eleanor said there wasn't anyone in, and I thought, well, we'll just shut
We
the
just had to
studio.
make sure
Right,
that there
yeah.
We
was.
did a concert too.
So thank you, Steve. That was
yeah.
super.
Yeah.
So Studio 1, lead on, Macduff, as they
this
would
is
say in
Studio
my
2,
part of the world.
and then-
Studio 2.
Studio 3 is actually quite new. This used to be
Oh, that Studio
falling
1 is
down
yours.
porch.
Ah,
So this, when we got the building, this was kind of a lean-to.
yeah,
It wasn't really a suitable inside space.
yeah. You got a bit of car parking out there, which is handy as well.
It's also complete chaos, but that's a whole
Yeah,
other
yeah,
show.
yeah, I'm sure. It's shared with four other premises as well. And I love the decor.
Thank you.
It's in total keeping with your good self as well, of course.
Yeah, we had to be closed for COVID, obviously,
Yeah.
and we knew we'd have to do something with this space eventually because
Yeah.
the lean-to wouldn't have, it was leaning the wrong way. So we put it in the studio.
Yeah. And another facility as well that helps push the thing along, yeah.
Yeah.
So have you got, is it Steve? Is there other people that you use this for rehearsal as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's Steve on keys, and there's Connor on Patrick on guitar and ukulele and banjo.
Oh.
There's Sue on flute and sax.
So you've got a total string band, you've got a jazz band, you've got...
Hannah on violin. In fact, did you see Hannah? We sometimes cross paths on a Wednesday.
don't think
Hannah
so.
teaches some fiddle
Yeah.
and some viola.
So are you cross-pollinating yourselves? Are you learning the fiddle yourself or anything like that going on?
I haven't, but
It's a thought, eh?
I actually did. I learned how to play the fiddle just enough to get through a part when I was at conservatory.
Okay.
I had a bit part in a musical.
It's a violin at the conservatory, surely not.
Well, I learned from my friend the librarian, and I learned the violin just enough to get through a little bit of Dvorak's Humor Up.
Hey! Wow, that's impressive. Well, it's impressed me. So the name Semitone, tell us the musical reference in that, because I love that as small steps, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in Western music, that's the smallest acknowledged step.
Yeah.
Yes, I know there's quarter tones and everything's smaller than that, but
Okay.
generally speaking, the system is based on tones and semitones.
Yeah.
And when I looked at what I was doing, what my colleagues were doing, and really what I wanted out of musical enterprise, a musical community, it was about everybody just taking one little step at a time towards doing what they wanted to do, to creating what they wanted to create, to getting better at what they wanted to. And I thought, what is the smallest step? Because I realized in myself that whether I was teaching somebody how to like sing in a straight line,
Yeah.
to carry a tune basically, or helping somebody to prep their professional set,
Yeah.
that both as a teacher in those regards and as a songwriter and as an arranger for choirs, as a choral conductor, everything I was doing was always about just taking that next little step. And even if I didn't know exactly where I was going. And so I thought, we'll call it semitone.
And that next little step could be a leap of faith as well. So it's
They all
beautiful.
are.
They all are. You're
Yeah.
right. So, what's upstairs?
Upstairs is our humble office.
So you got
and some storage space.
Yeah.
And there's a bakery.
Oh, I
Bakery.
did notice there was a sign for a bakery upstairs.
Yeah,
so you get the waft of cooking
waft.
food as well.
Yes, there is good waft. There's waftage. Kate, a little button bakery.
Yeah.
Makes amazing wedding cakes. And then my flat is upstairs too.
Oh, right, so you live here. That's perfect.
Yep.
So,
It's a bit of a TARDIS of a building. It just goes on and on. You
dude,
can't tell.
let's go back into the
on.
studio. I might have to talk you into doing another song. Would you, if we've got time?
Of course I would.
Cool. So, tell us about the support you get from the community. Do you get any support from the community, or is this operational in itself?
Well, it's a commercial.
It's a
commercial
commercial
operation,
property.
and
Yeah.
so from that perspective, we have to make things work.
Yeah.
And there's really a lot of parts to that. But if it weren't for the community, we wouldn't be what we are. So
Yeah.
I think that the
It's
community is our foundation, really. I mean,
It's
what we do on a
symbiotic,
Friday.
isn't it?
Yeah, so we give them somewhere to be, and somewhere that they know that is a safe place,
Yeah.
and that's really important. That you don't have to be good at it, and what does that even mean?
Yeah.
If you're willing to share, we're willing to listen.
Yeah. So the choir part of it, that's a kind of outreach thing that you do
Well,
into the community, or is it that?
that's a whole different community.
Yeah.
That's just it. There's all these different moving parts. I conducted for an organization, and then that evolved into I run the choirs myself now.
Yeah, yeah. So it's growing, little steps.
Little steps.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's inspiring. I feel inspired by the visit and just what you've achieved. So little time, but it is a lifetime. A labour of love over a lifetime that has brought this into fruition.
Yeah, I had pipe dreams of a live workspace, and then basically the facility that we had at the mill, we weren't going to be able to have for very much longer because of landlords wanting to redevelop it and such. And thanks to my very good friend Peter Eccles, and basically believing in me and what I wanted to achieve, we've got this.
Well done. Have you got any gigs coming up?
I think my
Before I
next
ask you to do another
gig
song.
that I'll publicize is, I think there's still tickets,
Yeah.
is the one on March 3rd at the Cricket Club just around the corner, which is a fundraiser raising money.
Which cricket club?
The Marple Cricket Club.
Ah, so there's. I was at. Oh, where was I? I've forgotten. Not Matlock. Oh, God, I was only there last Thursday, and there's a really nice musical thing going on there as well. So cricket clubs seem to be involved in music as well. And,
Interesting.
and great part. I'll send you the information on that.
No, do.
And apologies because one or two of the members will be listening to this just now. And I haven't got the right hat on. No, I haven't. They give me a hat as well.
Is there a right hat? Oh, they've given you a hat.
Yeah, I should have worn it. Anyway, that's me trying to crawl out of another hole as well. And,
Just one?
badly.
I got like 6 or 7 on the go.
Thank you so much for showing me around. Thank you for the inspiration, and thanks as well for the music. I'll post up links to where you're playing, and if there's an event page for the next open mic, I'll post that up as well. So thank you. Would you? Are we song to see us out?
Yeah. I did. Here and now. So we'll do
So we've got Taylor Giacoma. Giacoma, sorry.
It's all right. It's completely fine.
Digging myself out of another hole as well. And
No.
I think that this is a good view. I'll take a sweep around. What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play Safety Net, which is a song about being there for one another when we really need it. And that it's okay to fall. In fact, it's maybe really okay.
Okay.
ready to fall, you'll be ready to fly. Because falling's just flying, that hasn't worked quite yet. And when you fall, I will catch you. You're safe in my arms. I will be your safety net. I will be your safety net.
Wonderful, thank you. That's the lovely music of Giacoma and the lovely company as well. Thank you for both of that today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks everybody for being with us. You will notice there is a new facility on Restream. There's a little QI code that you can put up now, and you can buy me a cup of coffee through that. As we fund the iMTV totally by public subscription, and your generosity gets me around. I do appreciate that greatly. There is a link on the page that you're viewing from. We are broadcasting to 26 outlets today, and I thanks goes to Darren Poyser, who has added his community of pages to this broadcast this afternoon. So wherever you're viewing, thank you. If you've enjoyed this, please do share it. It stays online, and it helps us get more people to come along to medicineshowontheroad.co.uk. That's where you'll find the moose, and if you like that page and follow that page, you will get the odd a notification that we are going live, and you'll be very welcome to join us again at any time. Thank you. Hope to see you on Friday. Come back and see your house concert on Friday. Well, it's an open mic, so get in touch with you with Taylor if you. That's my dyslexic self. I shouldn't really do this job. Get in touch with Taylor if you would love to come, and why wouldn't you, and perform in this beautiful space. Get in touch at her Facebook page. I can do that. I can put that up.
Actually, the easiest place to find me might be, and you'll appreciate this.
Yeah.
My name is hard to spell.
Thank you.
.com. Because my name is hard to spell.
Yeah.
.com. So rather than trying to send it
Semitonestudio.com.
Oh, Semitonestudios.com is fine.
I'll put that up.
But if you can't remember that, and it is a live stream,
yeah.
and rather than searching the world for Taylor Giacoma, it may be easier just to go to mynameisHardToSpell.com.
Is that right? You've got that?
Yeah.
That's really good thinking.
Yeah.
Well, so there you are.
I spent far too much of my life trying to spell my name.
Yeah.
Badly. So.
And you know what I loved when I signed on the internet? Just before we go, I'll tell you what the sign on here is.
Tell everyone our password.
Yeah. But I won't tell them the end bit. It's practice. Okay. It's right. If anybody knows the old joke, how do you get to the Carnegie Hall? More or less, that is your password. You know, and I was telling Eleanor that I'm from Dunfermline in Fife.
Okay.
And that's where Andrew Carnegie came from. And there is a Carnegie Hall in Dunfermline. And I actually had somebody ask me, how do you get to the Carnegie Hall? I couldn't believe my luck. Yeah. So I used your password to tell them. Thank you so much. That's us. We're out of here. That is another medicine show on the road, Loose Moose show. And the next one might well be... might well be back here on Friday, but stay tuned to the Facebook page, and we'll have more news as we go on. Our regular Monday nights will be posted up there before anywhere else. So thank you again. That's us. We're out here best way we can. Thanks for